Post-game Lions reactions coming up. Stand by.
Turn that off. It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
All right. Well, it is currently the Sunday evening, about 5 o'clock. Lions just got done playing. We are, I guess, going to talk some post-game reactions to what we saw today. I don't know.
It
there
wasn't
was some
all
good
bad.
and bad, right?
Yeah,
But I mean, I guess it was just so bad because Lions had every opportunity to win that game. I mean, there was absolutely no reason why they should have lost that game.
Correct. Correct.
But look, I guess I don't know. I mean, give me your reactions first, there, brother. I just
disappointed in the quarterback play. I felt like last week, St. Brown really was not part of the offense. Right. And I really felt like Jared Goff was trying to push the ball to him a lot.
It did feel that way. Mm-hmm.
Right. And he was forced to go. He threw two more interceptions. He had no touchdown passes today. The defensive line and the run stop looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But
that's the defense in general, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole defense. I mean, there was that one. I know there was a miscommunication in the one play where Terry and Arnold kind of got out of position. It looked like, it was a nice design play, but Terry and Arnold, being a rookie and everything, kind of got messed up. Went with the wrong guy.
I think there was just some communication on passing that off back there, and that's the stuff that they're going to have to learn,
Exactly. But aside from that, I think that was really it was the biggest mistake I've noticed, and I think aside from maybe some, little things here and there. That was the biggest thing I noticed.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough for us to stop the short intermediate passing, right?
And Mayfield running.
Yeah.
Lions have always been terrible against running quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, when they got down there, it was like he had that scramble, and then it was like a design quarterback draw, and he just. We couldn't get. I mean, everyone had dropped out in the pass protection or pass defense, and it was just wide open. So, but the defense, I think, is going to be what's going to hold us up. It kept us in that game.
Yeah,
Branch got the interception. I think I don't want to say the key. The biggest disappointment was at the end of the half where we had the opportunity to get the field goal and got the penalty with the 10-second runoff. Had we had an opportunity to kick that field goal, that's 3 points there. We're only down one. We could kick a field goal at the end of the game.
Right, as we run out the clock.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're right.
So that I think he threw two bad interceptions. The one, I think there should have been a holding call. An illegal contact on the Jameson Williams one. It was the deeper one where the safety intercepted Goff. And it just, like I said, it was Jamo put his foot down, was making that, and the defender was there, right? So he got tied up there. I just thought that should have been a illegal contact down the field. Beyond 5 yards, right? I wouldn't have called it a pass interference. I didn't call it holding. It was definitely illegal contact in my eyes.
Well, I mean, the referees really let the defenders defend this game. There was a lot of different types of contact that we saw.
Yeah.
And because that wasn't the only situation that I seen in which I thought there could have been some sort of flag thrown.
Yeah. There was one early in the game where we got called for one. It was the first possession of the game, I felt.
Yeah, first possession, yeah.
And we got called for one that I I don't know. I wouldn't have called it. I don't think I would have called that. I thought it was a bad call by the refs, and they stuck with it, and it's just what it was.
Well,
And that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be tight for defenders because of how tight they called that one,
mm-hmm.
right? And then it was after that, it seemed like they just let them fight. And so I don't know if they got a call down from New York that said, hey, don't be so quick on the call. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that field goal, though, right? But the other thing I want to mention was that one Goff interception. You're inside the 20, and
yeah,
that was a terrible decision to kind of throw it in the middle of the field, three defenders,
and off his back foot,
and no good's going to come for that pass.
No.
Now, if he just would have taken the sack, that's a field goal. And we're in the same position again. Like, even if he screwed up on that, at the halftime, you still had that one you could have made, and we're still in the position to win the game at the end of we still had that.
Correct.
But there was way too many mistakes made.
Yeah, and again, Jared Goff doesn't have the arm strength to be throwing off his back foot.
Well, we've noticed even when Jamo's open downfield, he can't lead him.
No,
even last year we saw it every time. Even when Jamo gets those big passing plays, he's always turning around, slowing down, waiting for the ball to get to him. Goff is not able to lead him enough where he doesn't have to break stride.
Yeah, and that happened today too because Jamo had didn't he have a 50-yarder today? And it might not have looked like he shifted gears or like he slowed down, but he did because you could see the DB closing the gap, right? And it was just enough, but bottom line is that he can't get it out to him. And, that was an issue last year, right? So it's not like it's new. It was just, we didn't make as many plays like that down the field, I don't think.
Yeah.
With Jamo.
Look, this was the worst game I've seen of Goff since the Lions kind of turned it around at the end of the end of the season 2 years ago, right? Since they turned that corner, this is the worst game I've seen him play. The decision making was bad. A lot of his passes were inaccurate as far as hitting the turf and stuff like that. This was a Goff that I did not recognize. I don't know what happened. But from his decision making to his accuracy, everything was just bad.
Yeah. So I'm taking a look at both the last two games, first two games here of the season. He's got one touchdown, and he has 3 interceptions. Right? And I know at least 2 of his interceptions were thrown off his back foot. Right? I think all 3 of them were actually that way. He just, for whatever reason, hasn't been felt comfortable in the pocket. I feel like he's got some happy feet. I was trying to watch his footwork.
I was too.
And he never felt like he was getting set in it a lot of his throws, and he was just flipping it with his wrist. Right? And those are just dangerous. They're dangerous. So.
Okay. So I don't think any of our takes are hot takes on that, right? I think everybody looks at Goff and realizes. Now, I'm not here trying to say that Goff shouldn't be our starting quarterback, right?
No.
Everybody's is okay and deserves they'll be allowed a bad game here and there. And if you remember, he didn't play during the preseason, right? So he still might have some of that rust. Yep. So, but okay, let's just say, okay, fine, Goff. We know you had 2 bad games. Let's come back and come strong the third one, right? Let's just blow it off. We got to have a good third game from you, though. And but some positives, though. Let's look at some positives.
Okay.
I thought obviously Hutchinson. You can't talk positives without talking Hutchinson. 4.5 sacks plus just being disruptive all game long.
Correct.
Just a great performance by Hutchinson. Brian Branch had that interception. That was a good play by him.
Pass defended in the end zone.
And then just a defensive line in general, I thought was played really well.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned at the very beginning of the show, right? Like, they weren't able to run on us, very well.
Mm-hmm.
The linebackers I thought played a pretty good game too.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them keep Campbell in a more downs. He was in a lot like on the early downs, but they take him out and and any sort of like passing situations.
It seemed like they took him out on passing situations. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I'd like to see Campbell get more of an opportunity there too, though, personally. And then and the secondary, look, they had some pretty good plays there too in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we talk about Terry Arnold and that one miscommunication there where the
Yeah. Look, Arnold has been tested these first 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks,
Think about who he's had to cover in the first 2 weeks of his career in the NFL. So last week, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nakua, right? Not an easy thing.
No.
This week he had Godwin and Mike Evans, two of the best receivers that. I mean, it has been tough sledding for him to begin with, and all in all, he's done well. I think what's happening is what we're seeing is the not communicating, not passing off. And that's going to come with time because the entire backfield, other than Branch, because, Joseph, I guess, was back there, right? Playing safety.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're brand new, right? Like 3/5 of our backfield is new. So, that's going to just take some time. You want to talk some more positives. I look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff was still throwing. He threw for over 60% completion and almost 10 yards of completion. So we're stretching the field pretty good, right?
Okay.
Gibbs looked good. He had a couple of really good runs. Was over 100 yards total on 20 touches today between receiving and rushing.
Yeah.
The fourth down play, the fake punt was, not like it's the first time we've ever seen him do it, coach, because he did it before. I think he did it last year probably. And it, so, but yeah, defensively, I think we look really good. We look sound. I think Goff needs to get comfortable in the pocket, right? Make better reads when he's looking down the field. But again, like you said, he didn't play in the preseason. I think that's just some rust, and that's really all I got. We didn't give up a lot, right? 185 yards rushing, 185 yards passing, and less than 100 yards rushing. So it's 50, 60, 70, 74, 70 total yards of rushing. And Baker Mayfield was the leading rusher.
Yeah.
At 34 yards, right?
Yeah.
So all in all, you're talking about 250 yards of offense was given up against us, right? The defense is solid, and we knew that going in. Like the defensive line was going to be really good, and so far, they're holding up that end of the bargain. And again, I think the back end of our defense is they're doing well too, and they're developing, and they got better. They were better this game than they were against the Rams, right? So I'm optimistic about the season. It's a long season. We've seen some really weird things happen today.
Yeah, as far as games go, with certain teams winning, yeah, absolutely,
right. The Patriots took the Seahawks to overtime.
Yep.
Right. The Vikings beat the 49ers.
Yep.
Let's see. The Saints just dismantled the Cowboys. Let's see, the Chargers are going old school NFL and rush the ball, and they were just ball controlled, and they beat the Panthers.
Well, the
And so it's
Cardinals too, right now too. But
yeah, and the Cardinals are up on the Rams 24-3.
Raiders beating the Ravens.
Yes, in Baltimore.
And Baltimore. And right now, Bengals
Baltimore.
beating the Chiefs.
Yeah, Packers beat the Colts. I don't know that a lot of people thought that Malik Willis was going to be able to come in and do that. Having really only been in that offense for a month.
And he was just efficient.
Exactly.
They
didn't ask him to do a lot. They ran the ball.
No, they ran the ball like crazy. He only attempted 14 passes, completed 12 of them. That's where the efficiency comes in. And he only threw for 122 yards.
Yep.
But on the other side, Anthony Richardson did throw 3 interceptions.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, it was one of the, he's got a cannon. And that last interception, I think that was the Hail Mary one. He had an interception. It doesn't matter. He's not an efficient quarterback. All right? He's just not. He's a big play quarterback, but he's not going to be he's going to be a 50% passer. That's it. Right? And I don't see him ever going to be more than just 50% passer. But he completed 17 passes for 204 yards. That's why, 12 yards, 13 yards a reception. But he was 17 of 34. You can't. That's not going to get it done.
No.
But yeah, the Bengals are currently beating the Chiefs 10-3. And they're in Kansas City. And after the Bengals looked completely inept last week against the Patriots at home.
Yep.
So, these are long seasons. All right. So you just don't know what you're going to get. The Browns came back after, getting beat up by the Cowboys last week and grinded one out against the Jaguars.
Well,
so,
I understand things are being weird right now, but I expect better is all I'm saying, from Jared Goff and the team. Even though Dan Campbell, look, I look at this, I look at the end of the half missed field goal opportunity 2 ways. One, I don't think it was specifically Dan Campbell's fault. I know he took the blame for it. I don't think it was, completely his fault. I think that there was everybody knew you had to spike the ball. There wasn't enough time to run your field goal unit out there to try to attempt the field goal. You had to spike the ball. So whoever had the field goal unit going out there, which was probably a special teams coach, it was actually kind of his fault. Yeah. However, what I'll say is this, though. With Dan Campbell being the head coach, everything falls, on him. He is the guy ultimately responsible. So, I can understand why Campbell took the blame. But, because it is up to him to make sure his coaches and players know what to do in specific situations.
Yep.
But I'm just saying at that moment in time, I think that the coach did the wrong thing. But from a planning perspective and making sure everybody is ready, then it was Campbell's fault.
Absolutely, right? So, and one, I just appreciate Coach. He just takes it, right? He's like, I'm the head coach. The buck stops here. Whatever happens it falls on me.
Yep.
So, and that's the kind of guy that he is, right? So I totally I appreciate that.
Players do too.
Yes.
That's why he's so beloved by his players. But, at any rate, the next game, I think it's going to be very telling. What team are we going to get? Right. I was kind of excited about, the first week because I knew that the Lions didn't play their best game, and yet they still somehow came away with the win. That was impressive. This week, they had every opportunity to win. Every opportunity. And they kept shooting themselves in the foot. And that's not something the Lions have been doing under Campbell.
Correct.
But they just one thing after another. It was been really, really bad. Man, this game was terrible.
Yeah.
But
I am a little worried about the Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, he looked really bad as injury-wise, right?
Injury.
Like he got beat up bad.
He took that shot to the thigh.
Yeah.
And he came out for that play, and that was down the stretch, right? When we really could have used him. And then he came back, and he took another shot. It was the same leg, but if you saw the tackle, you could see it tweaked. Right, it was more knee than it was thigh. The way he got tackled, and so I know he probably won't practice much this week.
Right.
But, with the Cardinals, especially the way the Cardinals are playing right now, that's, and we have to go on the road. And history has said that the Lions aren't very good on the road. They've been getting better.
At least the defense travels, though, right?
Defense does travel. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But, it's going to be interesting.
It is. And I'm kind of excited for it, just because I want to see what team shows up. Because I think in a way this is kind of a might be a wake up call. Maybe they just had this. We're one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl and win it. Maybe they just had that. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not in the locker room. I don't know what it's like. I would not expect a Dan Campbell team to be this way. Don't get me wrong. Right. But maybe the players just kind of needed a wake up call. Every team, because now you're not the lowly Lions, right? You're the Lions that, went to the NFC Championship game. Every team's going to come out there and after you, and they're going to fight you tooth and nail. You're not a sleeper team anymore.
Yeah, well, when people are, who do this for a living are talking about you during the week and it's all good, like, hey, they're going to win this, and they're going to win blah, 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 blah. Like, that's all new territory for the Lions.
Yeah. So
hey, it is hard not to hear that. Right?
It is. Absolutely. Yeah.
So as much as Coach Campbell is sitting there, coaching his players up and saying, hey, we got to stay focused on the now, right? It is extremely easy to look forward.
And and maybe, that's what I'm saying. Maybe this game can be one of those games that is kind of like a kick to the stomach, that you kind of needed in order to get your team back on track.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
no, absolutely. Like, they'll look back because on Monday when they do game film, right, and they see all the missed opportunities.
Oh yeah.
Right, like I think they ended up getting that first down, but Goff threw one. I think it was to Jam. No, it was to St. Brown, and it went out of bounds, and he had Laporta in first down territory in front of it, right there. All he had to do was come off and do the check down, and it was good. But that's the stuff that, you go back and you look at the game film, and it's, I don't know. We're going to be okay. They're going to get better.
We'll be okay.
Yeah.
We'll be okay. I expect
neither one of us. I think we picked them, 10-7?
Yeah, I forget exactly what we picked them as.
It was it's not like we didn't expect that, the Lions weren't going, they were going to lose games.
I just didn't expect this game to be lost. That's all.
No. This is not the one I would have. And next week, I would have said that the Lions were going to beat the Cardinals, but I'm trying to determine that by watching the Cardinals play right now, and they're running the ball, so we're going to be okay because Connor, he's a load to bring down. So they've got their the Lions' schedule is tough. So we've got the Cardinals next week. Week 4, we have the Seahawks. And then where are we at? It's like, is it week 5? Maybe is our bye.
Yeah, we got to buy it early.
Yeah, so we got a bye in week 5, and then we come back out, and then we got the Cowboys in week 7 or week 6. So it's
No, it's gonna be. I mean, look, every team right now, the disparity is pretty good in the NFL.
absolutely, and I
Right?
think that's a
So
good thing for the NFL.
it is. It is. But if you look at the schedule, like you were kind of going down, right? Like you got the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Vikings, the Titans, the Packers, the Texans, the Jaguars, the Colts, the Bears, the Packers, the Bills, the Bears, 49ers, and Vikings.
Yeah.
Like every team on that schedule, like there's not one single team on there I'm looking at going, oh, that's an easy win.
No, not at all. And after the Packers looked as good as they did with Malik Willis, I know it's only a 1 game, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the way they were able to run the ball and control the clock, they still had me worried. Because
it's a Packers, it's a rivalry game, right?
Yeah. And
Anything
Jordan
can
Love
happen.
can be hurt, I think, longer, Was what I'm saying is if they're able to do that, and then when Jordan Love comes back, if they could still run the ball like that and then have the ability to throw like he throws, oh dear God. It's gonna be a long season. It's gonna be a long season. But on a good note, on a brighter side, I know this is not football. Tigers did win today.
They're still in playoff contention.
Still
we'll
in
have to
playoff
see
contention.
what happens here. Like they got some games coming up against the Royals. That's going to be some big games there with the Royals.
Yeah. So it's the Tigers won. They lost. So they're 1-1 right now with the Orioles, and the Orioles are one of the better teams in the league.
Yeah, they're 84 and 66.
Yeah, 84
and
66.
So yeah, the only team in the American League, or the only 2 teams in the American League with a better record than them. That's the Yankees and the Guardians. That's it.
Yeah. So we were able to, we almost tried to give it up at the end there, I guess. Give up a couple of runs late. But our young guys are starting, they're playing well, right? Bradley Green was 2 for 4 today.
He had 2 home runs. That's where all the scoring came from.
That's 2 home runs. Okay.
Yeah.
Torkelson got a hit. Trey Sweeney got a hit. Colt Keith got a hit, right?
And an RBI too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very nice to see this young talent. And we were talking to our cousin earlier. When I say we, my JD was doing most of that talking because it's baseball. But about how comparing the Tigers to what the Orioles did a few years ago, where they were starting to bring up their young guys to give them some significant playing time, and then look what how in a couple of years to see what has happened with the Orioles. So
yeah, we'll see. Because again, Tigers have a great farm system still. There's a lot of guys in there that can, as far as if they continue their development, we never know what's going to happen. But if they continue their development and can play in the major leagues like we expect them to be able to do, then yeah, I mean that's going to be a huge boost to a team that kind of needs it, right? And some of the positions that we need it to be. So, but at any rate, look, that's
that's our
it's
post-game reactions, I guess. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, it's very exciting for the Tigers because I think the future looks really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah. And right now, they're trying to chase the Twins. The Twins are 4-6 in the last 10 games, and the Tigers are 7-3. Yeah. So they're gaining ground.
They are.
But the Twins do have the tiebreaker, so you have to get a better record than they
You have to have a better record. Yep. Yeah. So are we still 3 games back, or have we gotten it down?
3.5 right now.
3.5 now?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's possible. Just the number of games left is it's getting
Mm-hmm.
tough. Now, the Twins have a couple of tough series coming up too, don't they?
Well, the Twins are actually playing against the Guardians starting tomorrow.
Okay.
So of course that's a game against a rival, and it's a game against the best team, in the Central right now, and the
Yeah.
second best team in the American League. And then they got the Red Sox, the Marlins, and then they close out their games against the Orioles. So yeah, tough games for them too.
Yeah. We'll hopefully see what happens. I mean, would it be awesome to see this young team, finish as strong as they have here in the second half, and get a wild card berth? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just think about what that can do for your team moving into your next season too. We look at what the Lions did 2 years ago and what they did last year, and what our hopes are for this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, as I tie it back into football, because that's what I do.
But at any rate, right? Let's just look at it like this. Lions are looking like what the Tigers did at the beginning of the year. Where you had a pretty anemic offense, and the only thing that was keeping you in the game was the pitching and defense.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we're seeing right now for the Lions. It's kind of a weird comparison, but
yep.
It kind of works, right? It's the defense that's keeping you in the game, and your offense just ain't scoring the points that it needs to. The offense is not in sync, so maybe we'll start seeing which I do believe anyways, but we'll start seeing a turnaround for the Lions here, like the Tigers have, and we'll start seeing them put up some W's here shortly, because I don't think the Lions are going to stay in this slump. So
no, they're gonna have to string some things together though, and they'll fix it. They got a good coaching staff, and I think they'll get it fixed.
Want to give any final thoughts on either the Lions or the games today?
As far as the games, they've been super exciting. So anyone that's watches Red Zone like I do, going into the fourth quarter or middle of the late fourth quarter, there were 7 of the 10 games that were all within one score. So super competitive games early, and that's awesome to see.
It is. All right. Well, honestly, it's one of those things where I think we all know, watching that game, what went wrong, and which was, pretty much anything that's not the defense. So, that's just, it is what it is. I'm not going to get too down, have to kind of keep you're going to lose some games. You're not going to win them all.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just one of those stinkers that they lay, and they'll get past it, and it'll galvanize them, and they'll be able to come back stronger, and then for the next few games. So I don't know. That's all I can hope for. That's all we can hope for, I guess. So, but we'll I guess end it there.
Yeah.
Right. And if there's anything that you guys want to add, have questions, let us know in the comments. We were getting some good discussions, so definitely appreciate everyone leaving some comments down there.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say is right now, just to update everybody, we're still playing, some games here, but it has been pretty brutal as far as Steve and I's pick'ems here, going against ChatGPT. Steve and I both have only won 3 games so far this week, and ChatGPT has only won 4. So ChatGPT is still pulling out in front of us here in terms of wins, but it could have been a lot worse this week because definitely did not pick well.
Yeah.
But we'll do some more updates on our picks versus ChatGPT, later on in the week once we other games are done playing.
Yep.
But
it's good to, I am not picking very well. That's all I can say.
Yeah. we have to get better. So
Definitely have to get better.
But with that, we appreciate everybody paying attention, watching to the end. Thank you so much. The Lions, be better, and the Tigers, keep going.
Yep.
And we'll talk to everybody next time.
Sounds good. See you, everybody.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.